Joining us this morning to have a conversation around food safety is the Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, Nafdac, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye. I have missed you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome.
Morning. Yes.
Okay, so let's just get it off the table, first of all. What are GMOs and are they bad for us?
GMOs are genetically modified foods when it comes to food, and they are not bad for us.
They're not.
They are not bad for us, depending on what type of foods they are and whether the safety considerations have been taken. The National Biosafety Management Agency, NBNA, is the agency charged for ensuring safety of foods that have GMOs.
Okay.
We work in collaboration with them. I'm a food freak. I'm a food freak. I want to know that what I'm eating is going to give me a good health outcome. I look at the label. I want to be sure that Nafdac label is on it, or if I'm outside the country, well, I don't do a lot of shopping now, but before my time in Nafdac, when I had all the time, I would look at the label. And it's supposed to have genetically modified food written on it.
Okay.
We work in collaboration with the Biosafety Management Agency. We have an MOU with them. They are mandated to ensure that the foods that have GMO are of quality, they are safe, and they're efficacious. Or they are safe. Actually, the efficacy is another agency that is taking care of that.
Okay.
So when you look at foods on the table, in the market, especially grocery stores, you will see foods labeled organic. You will see labels that are not organic.
Yes.
And people have choice to buy which one they want. But for Nafdac, our goal, we are mandated to ensure that the food that we approve for the market are safe, they are of quality, of course, and they're efficacious. So that is the reason why the collaboration between us and NBNA is very, very solid. Without them certifying that they have done their due diligence in their laboratory or for desk review or whatever, we cannot approve.
Okay.
So it's a joint collaboration between us and the biosafety.
So, Prof, if I go to the store,
yes,
I check, because I love food.
Yes, I love food too.
I love food quite a bit.
Yes.
When you go to the store and you see that there's GMO on the product.
Yes.
Okay, and then if it's there and then you see the certification from the NBMA, you have to check for those two things on the food label.
Yes.
Then you know that it's okay for you to eat this.
Exactly.
That's in the grocery store.
Yes.
What about the market? Because that's what many people are scared of. Do we have some products that are not going through that process of the NBMA certifying that this genetically modified food is good for us, and some of them slipping into our local markets and getting us into trouble?
That's a good question, actually. Because we have informal market, a lot of informal market when it comes to food. And I want to use the example of tomato.
Okay.
Of course, we grow a lot of tomato in the north, the central part of Nigeria and so on. And it comes from soil. GMO foods are genetically modified in such a way that it will increase productivity. So there are some tomatoes that can grow within 2 months.
Yes.
Whereas some tomatoes, rather, may grow 6 months, 8 months. You see some tomatoes that you can put it in the, in the kitchen, and they will be, having fruits. These are all genetically modified to make sure that there is access, fast access for food. They are not bad. It is that they have been modified in such a way that their yield is much, much faster.
So I don't want to lose this point. So when I get, because that's another thing people are scared of.
Yeah.
So like you buy an apple.
Yes.
and you keep it on the counter and it doesn't rot for days, that makes people worry. Oh, wait, is this food? Is this actual food? Because what we've been told is that food is supposed to spoil.
It's supposed to spoil, yeah.
Yes.
Again,
so is that a problem? If I have a fruit, if I buy food stuff that just stays forever, maybe not forever, but stays without getting rotten, we don't see the flies around it, the fear that this is not food, is that a genuine fear?
It's a genuine fear. It depends on what was used for that apple to make it stay longer on the. You see, we have a problem in Nigeria. About 60% of our naturally made food get rotten because we don't have good storage. So this is part of why science is done in such a way that foods that ordinarily will not rot on time. However, that is where the Biosafety Management Agency comes in. They make sure that what is used to extend the lifespan on the shelf of that food is okay.
So another fear that we have because I understand that with food, even not just food stuff, even with regular other plants, like cotton, for instance.
Yes.
I remember that in Nigeria, we modified our cotton so that it can be resistant to the bollworm.
Yes.
Because we're losing our cotton to the bollworm.
Exactly.
So when it comes to things that we consume, another fear that we have is that genetically modified foods don't digest. It's out there.
No, absolutely.
So a lot of us are thinking, wait, if it's not digesting, what's it doing inside of me? Is it causing me cancer? Is that something we shouldn't worry about?
We shouldn't worry about that. If you are a human being, the food is digested.
Whether it is genetically modified or not?
Whether it's genetically modified or not. Okay. It is whether it is approved by the agency before they ask us to release it.
So in the local markets, the ones that are in the local markets that do not have the labels of the agency, what do we do as a people?
Actually, what we do as a people is to make sure that if it is too good to be true, very likely it's not true. For example, and I want to digress a little bit from genetically modified food. You have meat that flies don't go over, that they don't, there's no flies around. It's because they've added some chemicals. That is not good. Unless you protect the meat, flies will come, or they will attract flies. But you have to protect the meat, either covering it with a net or whatever, to ensure there's no flies. So there are some additives that people use, like formaldehyde or whatever, that can kill us easily.
We can smell it in the chicken.
Okay, that's a problem.
We can smell it in the chicken.
Yes.
If you've been in this country long enough and you cook, you can smell it. When you don't buy raw chicken, if you buy the frozen ones, you can smell it. What kind of regulation is being done in this area?
Okay, Nafdac is an agency that works with different agencies. The Ministry of Agric is in charge of some of the food that we eat. MBNA, the Biosafety Management Agency, is another one. For example, we do packaged food. We make sure that packaged foods are safe.
Yes.
However, if it is not packaged, like what you are saying now, you go and buy 2 packs of, or 2 whatever thighs or whatever of chicken or drumstick or in the market. We don't control that. However, as a consumer, you have to be very vigilant. If it is smelling, you should know where you bought it from. We also don't challenge the system. We don't ask for receipt. Where did you get this? If you have a receipt of what you bought, and sometimes I don't blame people because many of our informal market don't issue receipts. But if it is too good to be true, it's not true. So I told you that I'm a food freak. If it is smelling, I will never go there again. Because it's smelling chemicals.
Yes, smelling of formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
Yes.
I will never go there. That is part of what we also do in terms of sensitization. We have to, first of all, make sure that the labeling on the food is such that it will inform our consumers very well. And then the risk, that's what I was talking about. If you went to a grocery store and the food, the thing is smelling formaldehyde, go to the manager. Let them know that we are also thinking consumers. We're not just consuming for consuming sake. And we do post-marketing surveillance.
Okay.
We go to not for chicken and all those things, but unless they are packaged, because our mandate is for packaged food. But if we go there and we find out, or we do a lot of intelligence, we rely a lot of intelligence. We make sure that we track where that food comes from. And if it is bad, we seize them and burn them.
I mean, it's easier to do, Prof, in grocery stores. But the issue is a lot of us are not buying things from the grocery stores. Right. A lot of us are going to village markets. We're going to that place at Airport Road to buy meat. Yes. That's where we're going to buy meat, along the Airport Road, because it's cheaper.
Yes.
And we are hearing most of those things are probably more, they're not genetically modified. At least that's the thinking process, that you're buying from farm to table.
Yes.
So a lot of us go to the village markets, we're picking up potatoes that are dirty and stuff like that. But the fear now is that a lot of these GMOs have started entering into these village markets that we're in, and then they're not going through the processes of regulation that grocery store foods go through. Is there no way Nafdac can regulate regular markets or do on-the-spot assessments, you know, like you do for pharmaceuticals, for fake drugs and things like that? You go to the markets for those. Is it possible to do this for food in our local village markets?
Actually, it is possible. It is that we also have state controls over food. So it's not like Nafdac is the only agency that controls food from the market, from the common market. We have state controls. But when we hear that something is going on somewhere, we step in. So it is not like Nafdac has the mandate to go to the market, all the markets, and start sampling food. For example, oil.
Groundnut oil.
Not even groundnut oil, palm oil.
Okay.
If it is too red, they might have added dyes to it. And that one is mostly packaged. We normally go to such markets, take samples, test whether it has azo dyes, and we evacuate. We also do a lot of sensitization. You know, we have a complex society. Poverty and lack of education. About 50% of our people are not educated. And this is where your question comes in about GMO. People don't understand that they have to look at the label. People don't understand that if it is too cheap, it may be bad. But because of poverty and lack of education or illiteracy, some people fall into this trap. That is why we go on air twice a week to let our people know. Ordinarily, we should not be doing that.
Before we wrap up on the food, on the food topic, I said groundnut oil, and the reason why I brought up is because there's an epidemic going on right now where when you put groundnut oil on the fire, it starts to foam and smells funny. Yes. Again, it starts to foam and smells funny.
That is, again, somebody has tampered with something. They falsified it. That is part of what we do in Nafdac, that we have our registered manufacturers. They will not deliberately falsify because they know it will cost them an arm and a leg. If we find out, we're going to evacuate, we're going to destroy their products. But if they are falsified, it may not even, the manufacturers may not know. But we also have a food lab in Oshodi, the food lab in Oshodi, where we will test. If we are given an intelligence report or somebody comes to us and says this is what is happening, we test. And we go to the source and make sure that those products are evacuated. And then sensitize. It is sensitizing our people. Don't let just poverty, cost determine what you buy. Because, and I don't blame our people, there's a lot of poverty in the land.
There is.
You know, but at the same time, know where you go to buy.
All right. When we started seeing anomalies in food, it was really worrisome to start.
I understand that perfectly. I'm a food freak, and I don't. Because the food we eat is supposed to make us better so that we use less medicine. That is the way my brain works.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about fake pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
Because that one, that one is something that I've gone with you on raids.
Yes.
Before we've gone to raid shops.
That's right.
What happens afterwards?
After raiding?
Yes, after the raids, because what we hear is that, oh, this person was arrested, this person was picked up. Sometimes we follow up,
yes,
and we hear that the owner of the shop was picked up at so-and-so place. What happens afterwards? How has the prosecution been going?
Actually,
and the kingpins, are we catching the kingpins?
These are all very, very good questions. We have Investigation and Enforcement Directorate. In our Investigation and Enforcement Directorate, we have a squad of police. Because it's not just we have investigation and enforcement, we also have the Federal Task Force that is domiciled in Nafdac. So we are backed by strong legal framework. If somebody is found falsifying medicines, of course we ask for recall of that product if you're already in our database. When it's recalled, we evacuate and destroy. But it's not just that. We are guided also by laws and regulations.
Okay.
We have our council. The Nafdac Council oversees the tariffs. It's a arduous process of determining what to charge for what crime.
Yes.
So we have these tariffs that we have to use in terms of penalties and whatnot. If it is grievous, very grievous, we take them to court.
Okay.
There are some.
Are we securing convictions?
We are securing convictions. Sometimes it is slow,
okay,
but we are securing convictions.
Okay. I do have to bring in my colleague from Lagos.
Okay.
I have a few questions for you. Go ahead, Ayo.
You know, the questions that you have asked, Prof, they combine into a number of things, because you've asked about GMO, you've asked about pharmaceuticals, and both of them, madam, I'm going to combine in this one question. And every opportunity I get to ask you this question, I ask. Phytomedicine. On the one hand, whenever any plant is modified, genetically modified, what happens to its phytomedical capacity? Because phytomedicine, of course, plant-based or herbal-based medicine is integral to us in Africa. When the genetics are modified, what happens to their phytomedical capacity? And then you have been at the forefront of this phytomedical thing, collaborating with all the research agencies that are, relevant. How far so far?
Thank you. That's a very good topic, actually, because I believe in phytomedicines. I was raised up with herbal medicines. But we are not in that phase in Nigeria where plants are genetically modified. I'm talking of phyto plants. Herbal plants are genetically modified. But bear in mind that when you have, let's say, a phytomedicine, the source is a leaf, you have to extract the bioactive from that leaf. And you have to ensure that what you are seeing as the bioactive is what you used to see before. If it has been genetically modified, it will change. And the good thing about phytomedicine is that you cannot just genetically modify and think that everything will work. It will not work. What nature has already put there is there for the medicine, the bioactives to work. But we are not there in Nigeria yet where herbal plants are genetically modified. But in terms of the functionality of herbal medicines, Nafdac has listed maybe more than 1,000 products before my time, up till now. Products that are safe. We test the safety, we do toxicology and whatnot. These are products that our forefathers, foremothers have used before. So we know that they are safe. However, the problem with herbal plants or phytomedicine in Nigeria is that we have not stepped it up to a level where we can issue 5-year approval. We do listing, which is 2-year approval. Because to do 5 years approval, you have to do clinical studies. The fact that the medicine works doesn't mean the medicine may not cause harm, may not be toxic. So we encourage our practitioners to do clinical trials. However, clinical trials is very costly. That is part of what I believe the government should support, because we have phytomedicines that work. I know one that works as anticycline. I have a niece that has sickle cell rather. She's been on this medicine for over 20 years. She's now 40-something, going to 50. She has 2 children without much episode. In fact, the episode decreased by about 70 to 80% once she started this medicine 20-something years ago. So we have medicines that work. It is how we can support research in such a way that they can now be approved for 5 years, and then we can also sell them globally. I believe in quality, I believe in safety, I believe in efficacy, but I also believe in trade. Because it will benefit other populations if we are able to do enough clinical research to ensure that, yes, so out of 100, 90 people got good clinical outcomes. Because it's all about statistics.
Well, Prof,
the fact that the medicine works for one person,
yes,
may not work for another person, but if you have a well-designed clinical trial, yes, you can now write it in paper. You can publish it.
Perhaps that also gives us...
In our country,
you've been at this...
And it can also work in other countries.
To the best of my knowledge, Prof, you've been at this for many, many years. Even before, I think it was just after COVID started that you came up on the same program and you told us that phytomedicine was our low-hanging fruit, and the low-hanging fruit seems to be reaching a little higher now. Now, you say that, you know, it is something that it can work and everything. If China could do it, that we have Chinese medicines and Chinese practice, you know, rife all over the place, then what's stopping us in Africa from doing it? There's so many questions to ask you on that one. And I want to believe that the president will be very excited about that. But then there's also this issue about ginger. Nigeria was once the second largest exporter of ginger globally, but the current crisis we understand now is we are no longer that giant we used to be. The same thing has happened to us it would seem, in the area of cocoa. The same thing may have happened to us in the area of palm oil, and it would seem like we are denigrating or degrading our capacity and our competitive advantage in the world in what is supposed to be our strengths, agriculture. Prof, what is happening here?
You are touching a soft spot of mine because I believe in local content. God has given us such a great biodiversity that we don't need to look anywhere else. Our ginger is one of the best in the world. Our cocoa, Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire, and Nigeria cocoa have the least cadmium content. And cadmium has a negative effect on the earth. On the heart, you know. So all these palm oil, we were making, Malaysia came to learn how to do palm oil from us. So this is something that is my own soft spot. That how come that we are not tapping into the great biodiversity that God has given us? And we cannot do it alone. The common man cannot do it alone without the support of the government, without the support of the scientists. And the scientists also have to be funded. So it is, let me tell you, they are even lower hanging fruits. But it needs a lot of resources in order to be competitive.
Maybe we should drag it in a little further.
To the converted.
My apologies. Maybe we should drive it in a little stronger. We have the Standards Organization of Nigeria. We've had situations where Nigerians want to export some things and they cannot export them. In fact, some of our produce have been repatriated back to Nigeria for one reason or the other. It's something that you are aware of and you were very, very peeved about when the issue came up. So what happened, in your opinion, that Nigeria's once thriving ginger industry, once outstanding ginger products, there are reports that they were modified one way or the other and consequently affecting the quality that we have to put out. If you can tell us what exactly happened and what agency of government is supposed to ensure that that nonsense didn't happen or it can be reversed.
Yes, actually, Standard Organization of Nigeria is another agency that we work very, very closely with. Anything that is produced locally, Standard Organization of Nigeria has to set the standards so that those standards match the ones, you know, coming from other countries, especially those that will contribute to good health outcomes. So SON is very big in ensuring that we belong to, we have an MOU with them, we work very closely with them. It is that we have to have a will. We have to have a will to make sure that what we produce in Nigeria can go out without being rejected. About 60–70% of our products are rejected some years back, and now it's decreasing. Thank God for that. To me, that is heartbreaking in a way, because the money that was put together to get all these products exported are already gone. But what happened in the past, where we have been doing a lot of sensitization, is that people sidestep Nafdac. They sidestep Nafdac in terms of our testing. We've got to test them, because the fact that you are sending something to Europe doesn't mean that the same standard we have in Nigeria is what Europe has. That is where the Codex Alimentarius comes in. Each country decides, of course, they will give a general guidance, and each country decides on the levels, the minimum allowable risk and so on. So the fact that it's acceptable here doesn't mean it's acceptable in Europe or in Asia. So, but when they don't come to Nafdac, sometimes or many times their products get rejected. There is no product that we have approved in Nafdac that has been exported that was rejected. We have to also sensitize our people. Do not go through the shortcut, because it is money that is going to be wasted. You have to go through Nafdac, and we have very, very short time for approval. For example, if that product has been used before, in Nigeria, we have approved it within 7 days. You can get your approval. If it has never been done before, we have to check the manufacturer or the facility to ensure that good hygiene practice and everything is there within maximum 35 days. Maximum 35 days. We have to test it, and we don't even take money.
I was just going to say, testing. Is it expensive?
No.
So why do they sidestep Nafdac?
First, because our people sometimes will rush out to rush products out, thinking that somebody at the port that has told them lies is looking out for good. They are looking for their pocket. So there is no product that Nafdac has approved for export that has been rejected. So I'm just encouraging our watching audience, please come to Nafdac if you are doing export. Thank you.
Let's talk about the marketers and the markets that were closed.
Yes.
Idumota.
Yes.
And then the other one in Onitsha and Aba. So what's happened? What next for the marketers there?
Okay. These markets have been there forever.
Yes.
And nobody was able to really do effective enforcement. And unfortunately, there are some unscrupulous marketers among them that have formed cabals.
That's in these drug markets?
In these open drug markets.
Okay.
Yes. They have formed cabals where expired drugs are revalidated, where drugs that have been banned are brought into the country through borders, through ports or whatever, where low-quality products are sold. So what we then decided to do is, and this is part of what we call our National Action Plan. It is a plan that will strengthen Nafdac. It is a plan that will improve the health of our people. That is the goal. So we had to face this as going to war.
Okay.
We planned it for about a year. And one good thing that is happening now that I need to underscore is what President Tinubu is doing through the National NSA office, Malam Ribado.
Yes.
Because without police, without force, we cannot destabilize the markets. We cannot remove the bad elements from them.
So you had to close them down?
So we had to close them down.
Okay. So what happens, because it wasn't everybody in the markets that was bad.
Exactly.
So what happens to those who are falling through the cracks right now? What next for them?
Actually, it's a good question. We first of all have to close them. We had 1,350 forces, military, DSS, police, that helped us. That is the role that NSA played in February. So when we barricaded the shops, we have to close them. We walked through the unions. We just didn't go there and start closing. We walked through the union. The union spoke and discussed with their members that we are going to close and then start opening and checking rather. Checking whether they have good distribution practice, whether they have good storage practice. Almost all of them had bad storage practice. The fact that we even have a good drug, if you store it in a bad place, temperature 40 degrees, 38 degrees or whatever, that product will break down. So that was what we did. However, some of the ones that are very good, that are also there, we couldn't say, oh, you open 1 out of 10, 1 out of 8 or whatever you open. No, we shut all of them down. But as soon as we got in the inventory of the violations of each store, or a violation, sometimes a violation is just, a store may be just having one violation. We had them on spreadsheet. Those that did not violate, there are few, we opened them up. The ones that violated, we had to give them investigative charge for bad distribution or bad storage practice. And as soon as they pay, we open them up. But this is not a one-off thing. We're going to continue to do this on and off, to ensure that the ones that we have cited for violation doesn't go back to start bringing in bad medicine. You cannot believe what we saw in the stores. You go there, you will feel the heat once you enter the store. And this is where drugs that are supposed to be used are kept. When Governor Soludo saw some in Onitsha, he said, oh my God. He went there physically. Tramadol that we never registered. So you don't even know what is inside the tramadol. So we seized all those and destroyed them. We have that power to do that, what is called C-34 bill. We can enter any shop that we, or any facility that we suspect that have illegal things that will hurt people. So going forward, people that are law-abiding, we don't have problem with them. But this open market and the government stand about it predated me. They mandated, the Presidential Committee mandated Nafdac and PCN, Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, that is in charge of the site. You know, we are in charge of quality of the product and whatnot. Mandated us to make sure that there is coordinated wholesale center where these open marketers can be relocated. And Nafdac, PCN, police will be stationed in that drug mall. We have one in Kano already. Kano was the first state that built the CWC, Coordinated Wholesale Center. So all the marketers were moved there, and now we do a lot of post-marketing surveillance. We do mystery shopping to make sure that the products that are in their market are the product that they're supposed to have. And if they don't, we seize it, we evacuate, and also penalize them. So that is where we are going in terms of the future of open drug markets.
I mean, it's a lot of work, and it's continuous
work. It is continuous work.
So yes. For the Nigerians right now who are watching this program, yes, and a little word, what message do you have for them as we wrap up?
The message that I have for Nigerians, including me, is that we are making sure that the products, the drug products in the market are safer. We do national surveys of all products in the market.
Yes.
But we use that scientific approach because we cannot do 1 million at the same time. You know, we have from anti-malarials maybe about 15%.
Yes.
That is not good. For maternal, we lay emphasis on maternal and child products. For example, oxytocin, yes, that is used to induce labor. It was 7-point-something% before. That's about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Now it jumped to about 80%. So we have to make sure where are they coming from? And the customs, you know, they've been working with us assiduously, collaborating to ensure that we are blocking the entry points.
Professor Mojisola,
thank you so much
for being with us this morning and for your insights. And I hope we'll have you here regularly.
Thank you so much.
To break all of this down for us. Professor Mojisola, who is the Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, Nafdac.
Thank you so much.